Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. Dr. Ali Maalim Mohamud is the Deputy Governor, Mandera County. Professor Grace Chesarek is the Deputy Governor, Elgeyo Marakwet County. Francis Mwangangi is the Deputy Governor, Machakos County. And Senator Dan Manzo is from the neighboring Makueni County, who sits at the Senate. Lady and gentlemen, your time is all appreciated. First, coming to you, Senator Manzo, before I pick on Francis Mwangangi, is the Senate Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations Committee has received 21 reports of problems between deputy governors and their bosses across the county. This is chaired by Senator Abbas Mohamed, your colleague who comes from Wajir County.
Yes.
And there's a plan by the Senate to set in motion a plan to diffuse the tension and what appears to be standoff between governors and their deputies. How can this culture be ended, given their importance in the structure of the devolved system of governance that we have?
Yes, I'm aware what Senator Abbas is doing, and Senator Abbas is a very experienced legislator, having been elected many times and very familiar with the leadership in the country. I am aware that his committee has been going around the counties, especially where there are problems, try to sort them out and to smoothen any issues pending. You know, one of the things which happened before a governor and the running mate, who is a deputy, go together, ordinarily they pull together political forces. You will find that probably the governor will not have become the governor without the deputy.
Yeah.
And you'll find, like in the case of Machakos, Honorable Mwangangi comes from the east and the Honorable Wavinya Ndeti comes from the west. And therefore, when they combine their political power, then they win. And therefore, I want to say that the deputy governor is a very important person. And the reason the Constitution put it the way it did, in the event something happened to the governor, and you saw that happened in the case of Kahinga, then you not have to go back again to elections. And I want to say that in the case of Makueni, Mutula Kilonzo has chosen a very strong deputy who is a lady. And the culture of Makueni from the days of Professor Kivutha Kibwana was that then you will always have, when you have a governor who is a man, then you have a deputy who is a lady. If you have a lady who is a governor, then the deputy should be a man, so that you can balance gender. And I think it depends from county to county.
Yes.
And although there is no law directly protecting, there's no law directly protecting a deputy governor, it is more of how the two relate. And again also, should the governor be impeached?
Yes.
And absolutely and completely impeached, then, and having gone through all the processes up to Supreme Court, then automatically the deputy assumes office as the governor. And I think that fear, sometimes some governors have that fear that is the deputy cooking something dangerous for me. Is it trickery?
Yeah.
You know, but we don't have something massive like that in the country. But I believe from the example I've seen in Makueni of Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr.
Yes.
And the deputy, who is a very renowned administrator, and who understands administration, and who is very useful to the governor in terms of government networks, because she used to be a county commissioner. She has worked in serious offices in the national government, including State House. And therefore, when they synergize, then you find that they are able to lead the county well. And I believe that should be copied by the other governors. And those 21 cases, I believe Senate should resolve them so that those counties could do better. If the deputy and the governor fight, then there is going to be a problem in that particular county.
All right, and service delivery is key here. Francis Mwangangi, coming to you. The Senate then plans to amend Section 32(3) of the County Governments Act to make it mandatory for governors to assign responsibilities and portfolios for their deputies. It states, the section at the moment, that the governor may assign the deputy governor any responsibility or portfolio as a member of the county executive committee. First, do you attend the county executive committees as the deputy governors?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. I do attend. And let me start by saying I work well. I'm among the very few, and I say very few because I'm an official of Deputy Governors Forum.
Yes.
And I know and I do understand more than 3/4 of deputy governors are not working so well with their seniors. So I'm among the very few who work closely and well with my boss, the governor. From the onset, and my colleagues here, who are senior scholars and senior persons in this country, will agree with me, our role as deputies is to pray for our bosses, to support them, and whenever any advice...
You mean praying prayers?
Yes, yes. Without prayers, you can't go far. So we...
what form does that take, given that...
In my case, I'm a Catholic. And sometimes I even offer masses for my county and for my boss, so that God can give her wisdom. As much as human beings and as leaders around her, we want her to succeed. You need that God's grace, because it is not, leadership is not easy.
Okay, but so as you mentioned that, you'll proceed, I'll give you the time.
Yes.
I'll also come to Dr. Ali and Professor Cheserek, is that Kenya is a constitutional democracy. Yes, prayers are important.
Yes.
And we all believe in our own respects.
Yes.
The power of the Almighty God, but it's not a theocracy. So, I mean, how does your role involve all the time praying for your governor when you have other important duties that...
you are taking it too far, Abdi. The thing is, whenever you just go to pray, just as you offer yourself to Almighty God, you also pray for other leaders, okay? And I said it on a light note. I'm not saying that is part of my mandate too, and it is a must I have to know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, from where I sit, it is my duty, it is my personal conviction to do that. Because without, as I said, God's guidance and wisdom, I don't think we will go far as leaders. But that aside, I did not know the magnitude of the problems between deputy governors and the governors until I got to the office and I was elected as a whip of Deputy Governors Forum. What I knew before I got to the office is not what I know. There is a major challenge when it comes to leadership within our counties. And I think the bottom line is the effectiveness and the efficiency of services to our wananchi. Now, when the two top leaders are divided, when they are not one, you expect that service not to be the way it is. Okay. Because the focus is something else, not what is supposed to happen. So in this case, our governors, many of them are doing a good job, but a few others are not doing justice to their deputies. Okay, so and that is problems that have been mentioned in that forum that you guys have. Yes. Would you mind then giving us a list of the counties where this is becoming a major headache? First and foremost, it is in public knowledge that we know what is happening in Kericho. We know what is happening in the Siaya. We know what is happening in Meru. We know what is happening in Trans Nzoia. Even some of these governors have not even... they have offices, but they were told it is being painted, but it was locked. Okay? Some were told your car needs service. After it was taken for service, it has remained there forever. People are suffering.
Okay.
And when I talk of people, I talk of deputy governors.
Yes.
Some of them are really suffering, and I find it a challenge when we are supposed to be focusing on service delivery to Wananchi. We are focusing on issues of infights.
Okay.
I think that is not necessary at all, and it is a threat to devolution.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Oli, how consequential can this be, given the cases also top up Kisii County on the list that he has given me, and the 3 going all the way to impeachment level? That was the case of Meru and the case of also the county of Siaya. But how consequential is this, or bearing can this have on the devolved system of governance, given your very strategic positioning by the Constitution, because you are tied on the hip with the governor, but there are concerns that you are being treated as small boys, and therefore the need for this relooking at this law by the Senate?
So Ayub, let's go back where we started, meaning that when we went into an election and have joined the governor as a partner, the general assumption was that this will be like a marriage, where we will be working on a household together. Yeah. In the name of trying to deliver or delivering to the public and the citizens. So what you have to understand is that in terms of qualifications, in terms of merit, most deputy governors, I mean almost all of them, have to meet certain qualifications that a governor meets, which means in terms of merit, in terms of capacity, there are people with a very high level of capacity. We have professors and doctors and all that. But also, you must understand that during the elections, the reason why you came together is you command certain amount of constituents. So you bring some value to being elected. You bring something to the table. And the assumption is that because you also bring something to the table, as does the governor, once you come in, then it has to be treated that way in terms of share of management of the government matters. Okay. Now, unfortunately, once you come in, as humans are, most governors forget that we have been together in these things. And suddenly you find yourself isolated. Of course, everybody is not the same, but like my colleague has said, great majority of deputy governors, those we know that have just been mentioned, and many that have not been mentioned to you, are suffering in silence.
Are you among them?
And this, no. For me, it's a different case. And so it varies. In fact, with me and my governor, we have no major issues. Okay. Of course, when you are in a household, you have 1 or 2 things you will always have to discuss. And when you don't disagree, then something is wrong. In any case, when you don't disagree on a few things, because you're bound to have certain opinions, even on your own. So one or the other time you will disagree, but there are some very fundamental, almost break up happening in many, many other counties. Mine, I will be very honest, I have a good working relationship personally, but we're one of the very few, maybe a handful of us have a good working relationship with the governor. And that does not mean that we cannot speak for the rest of our colleagues. Okay. So, Ayub, the problem is really not even the governors themselves. The problem is I find this to be a constitutional gap. The makers of our constitution have not really interrogated and looked at what are the possible roles of these individuals who will be working with the governors. And I think that's where we had begun to fail. Of course, you just assume that you are at the mercy of the governor to give you certain roles. Yeah? But when a whole major office is left to the mercy of an individual to decide what to do or what not to do, then that's where we really go wrong. What I would have said is that we need to go back to our constitution. As you have mentioned, Senator Abbas, who is a very long-term serving legislator, his committee has had an interview with the DGF, Deputy Governors Forum, and we had a very good discussion in terms of amending our constitution. What the constitution did was you deputize the governor. Yes. And there's nothing more than that. But what we are looking for is a very specific roles to say that, look, as a deputy governor, in addition to deputizing in the execution of the functions of the governor, then you also have these specific responsibilities. And that's not necessarily to be appointed in an executive position,
Okay.
but certain specific roles that really makes the office vibrant and working for
Thank you.
Kenyans, because Kenyans are spending a lot of money
Yeah.
on deputy governors.
Yes.
You can imagine we have 47 deputy governors,
Yes.
each earning close to, you know the amount, their
Yes.
salaries. And so if these offices are left empty, doing nothing, with
No value
all
for
the
the money.
potential,
Okay.
it's so unfortunate.
All right.
Yes.
Professor Grace Chesarek, give us your account of Elgeyo Marakwet and the clear stating of looking at section 32.3, which states that the governor may, and that is the language assigned you, the deputy governor, responsibility or portfolio as a member of the county executive committee. So are you amongst probably the long list of counties where these challenges are apparent, and what's your experience of 2 years since coming to office?
Thank you. So number one, I'm here as the Deputy Governor of Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Yeah.
And before then, of course, I was teaching in the university for over 18 years in the area of environmental science. And I'm also here as the secretary, the Honorable Secretary of the Deputy Governor's Caucus. So I will speak from the two fronts. For my case, we have a cordial relationship with my governor. Some hiccups, but it has not warranted us going to Senate to report about what is happening. We are still managing at that level. The issue we are here, and the issue why we are speaking out, and you will even remember from the first deputy governors, the second deputy governors were very vocal when the DG Nyeri was the chair, and now our first DG in this term was the deputy governor Kajiado, and now we have a new chairman, the deputy governor Laikipia, Ruben Kamuri. And our DG from Machakos is our whip. I'm the secretary. So we have that leadership. So we want to say, what is it that we can do so that we support the amendments that are being brought by the Senator for Meru? Number one is devolution is stated in the Constitution, a whole chapter 11 on devolution and on how a governor is elected, and that a governor is elected with the deputy governor.
Okay.
The same way Senator has raised here is that the governor could be coming from one community and the deputy governor comes from another community. That is the case for Elgeyo Marakwet. The governor comes from Keyo, I come from Marakwet. Okay. So that is Elgeyo Marakwet. So when you come to office, the people from your community expect that now we have this big position. The moment you are nominated, your community celebrates that now we are in government. Now, after you have finished and the governor comes to office, so before that, during campaigns, you are being consulted. Yeah. There's a lot of planning. Where are you going today? Who is going where? Immediately they take office, something changes. And we blame, again, how our roles have been stated in the County Governments Act, that Article 32. Okay. It is just 3 words, that you deputize the governor, he may appoint you as a CEC, and you represent him where he is not available. As much as that is a big area, because deputizing means you are doing most of what the governor is doing, assisting him. There are about 10 departments in a county. And a good governor will say, why can't you take charge of these 3 or 4 departments? I take charge of these other 6. Okay. Just like the president, what he did, he gave Rigathi Gachagua. He gave Rigathi Gachagua executive order number 1. Some governors have done that, some have not done. So from our statistics, 90% of our deputy governors do not have executive order of what they are supposed to do. 90% do not have designated budgets for the office of the deputy governor. And yet this is a whole state office. So you are lumped as office of the governor, and now you have to rely on the goodwill of the governor for you to move around, for you to go to the community, for you even to make any contribution. So we are here to say that we are not fighting the governors. And we are also saying that as a deputy governor, you are a state officer. You are the second senior most person in the county. Senator has raised the fact that if a governor is impeached, the deputy governor automatically becomes the governor. It is not just that. A governor can resign. A governor you can lose a governor while he's in office. A governor can be taken to court and he is found not to be able to discharge his mandate. And the deputy governor takes over.
Okay.
So the challenge we have is, how come the deputy governor is very important during campaigns, and immediately you get to office, you abandon the deputy governor? We are here to say that we want to preserve the constitution, give it life. We also want to protect devolution. Because remember, we started discussing Majimbo, regionalism, and finally we are now in devolution. We are actually in the third cycle of governance.
All right.
Since 2010.
Okay.
How come we have a very senior officer at the county government who is not being properly utilized? And that is why we support these amendments that we now want to, dissect these three roles and say specifically what is it that you're going to do.
Okay.
There's a big problem at the counties. This issue of disaster management.
Yeah.
Disaster risk management and emergencies, which is something that it has a budget of about 2%. And most of the deputy governors now, some of them are experts in the areas. And if you are left just to read the newspapers, you are left there they call us flower girls now. And I don't know the men, they call them
young boys. Young boys.
Yeah.
Small boys.
Small boys. And we came together and say, we want to bring change. It may not benefit us, but for posterity.
Yeah, okay.
So that now in future, there is a governor and there is a deputy governor with specific roles that will now support service delivery in the county government.
Okay. Senator Manzo, given that this report is with the Intergovernmental Relations Committee of the Senate on Devolution, and the Speaker has directed the petition to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and gave it 60 days to dispense with the position. Given that there is a long list of counties where these standoffs are very clear and which may have an effect on service delivery, how can then this situation be diffused? For example, the case of the Deputy Governor Siaya County, even after surviving, he is unable to assume office, according to him. True. So how can this then be addressed? Because these challenges seem to be holding back the progress of devolution.
The case of Siaya was unique. And when the matter went to committee, and I sat in that committee, the committee actually removed him. And then when it went to the floor of the House, he was saved. What had happened in Siaya, there is a time when Governor Orengo was participating in the election petition, had left almost everything to the deputy governor to run. And there are quite a number of issues, from procurement to the deputy governor wanting to sort of house the sitting governor. And the case ended up in Senate. You saw the case for Kisii, where the deputy governor has actually been impeached. And the main reason why the deputy governor was impeached from Kisii completely and has not succeeded in coming back through the course was a personal issue. He was being prosecuted by his own relatives, and the actions he had taken against his own relatives were not befitting a public officer. There are things a public officer is expected to do even at their own personal level and their personal lives, so that it doesn't affect their main image and their duty at work. And therefore, there are quite a number of other deputy governors we had in a serious trouble. And what that committee is doing, the devolution committee, is to arbitrate between the two. Abbas, Senator Abbas is a senior citizen, very experienced. And we have also gotten a lot of help from the two former governors in Senate. We have the governor for
Roba and Mandago.
Roba and Mandago are very useful In fact, in terms of, having gone through those experiences, and in terms of dealing with governors and deputy governors, and then be also in Senate. Those two have really been very useful in terms of diffusing those instances, and especially Robert. Almost is successful every time he is incorporated in that, and he's also the one in charge of finances, which are very important to counties. Therefore, practically in the past, in Machakos, the deputy governor was a CEC Finance. And actually the deputy governor of Machakos then helped the governor very much in running the affairs of the county. He was extremely useful. So what I would encourage is, now that you could form a collabo and a good team and win, I think then you should share the goodies and also share the spoils. And do your level best to make sure that your county succeeds. If the failure of the deputy governor is the failure of the governor, and the success of the deputy governor is success of the governor. And I think there should not be political competition.
Yes.
But when one wants to become a criminal, there is a picture there of a lot of money with the governor. So
maybe you should slow down for the deputy governor.
Don't go and fight over the money.
I think we need an empty bag there for deputy governor.
No, I can see both bags are full. For
we don't see the chair of the deputy. We don't see the chair for the deputy.
So it is more of the service to the people.
Yes.
And it should not get to a level where now the deputy governor has threatened the existence of the governor so that they take over. That has been the fear.
Yeah.
If you could find a deputy governor is instigating the removal of the governor through the Senate.
Okay.
And now what happened to Governor Kawira sent a very strong message to other governors also.
Yes.
You can play around with your MCS and your deputy, and when you come to Senate, the Senate agrees with them. And by the time you entangle yourself out of it, time is already gone, and probably the courts won't help you. The moment the courts don't help you, then you're gone.
Okay, and the Supreme Court was clear in October 2022, and it did rule that the county assembly members are the first tier of checks on the accesses of the executive at the county level. But even as you mentioned that the case of Machakos, where you said the last time the deputy governor was assigned the duty of being the CSC in terms of in heading the finance department. So this proposal to amend 32 sub 3, will it then going forward give the deputy governors specific job description so that you move away from the language of the law here and they are hanging in uncertainty of what they may do or what they may not, given that that depends on the goodwill from the governor as to what she or he may do?
Right now it is depending on the goodwill from the governor, because if you are not assigned any duties, remember the first governor or the first deputy governor of Machakos was even impeached and then was saved by Senate, and then was never given any duties for after that.
Okay.
No car, he was just nobody. He was just the deputy governor for the name. And then he went all the way to the next election, and it frustrated him a lot. And it seems he doesn't have a legal recourse, when you're in that status, because you are the principal assistant.
Yeah.
You can see the problems the deputy presidents have been having. And I think this deputy seat is so jinxed, it has a lot of problems. And even right now, you can see what is happening to the deputy governor. Some, small-time politicians want to frustrate a deputy president. And you see, it depends again on the boss. It depends on the president, what happens to the deputy, and it depends on the governor on what happens to the deputy. And I think that law will go a long way of being specific, so that it automatically means that the deputy governor is working and has a specific role.
Absolutely.
And remember, a long time ago, the vice president used to be the minister for
Home Affairs.
For Home Affairs. You remember Mudia Wari and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yes.
The vice president had a specific ministry.
Yeah.
Had a specific role.
Yeah.
So I think, and I want to support, the deputy governor must have a specific ministry.
They could easily be dismissed,
Yes.
though, especially under the Moi regime.
Anytime.
Dismissal. Yeah. Yes, Dr. I'll come to you, Francis.
I think I want to synergize what the senator has just said, is that if you do not have those specific roles, first of all, you are in a place where you have to do nothing. For example, we have said that the deputy governor is the second most powerful, most influential, came in through election. After the deputy governor and the governor and deputy governor come into office, they appoint a number of senior officers in the executive. Sometimes you will find that the deputy governor's powers have been taken away by people who are appointed. They did not know how you came together, how you formed the government, what constituencies you brought on board. The deputy governor sometimes, and in most cases, is frustrated by lower cadre officers. Why? Because they either it's perception or reality, they believe that they have, they are on the side of the governor. And that's very unfortunate. Now, as a deputy governor and as a deputy principal, as a deputy CEO, what CEO means is really a very powerful thing, is that you are expected to deliver in the eyes of the public, that you are a very powerful office. Now, our constitution, as you have said, the County Government Act, Section 32 says that a deputy governor cannot hire or fire, for example. Now you are here, you are the CEO or the deputy CEO on behalf of the governor. You cannot institute a disciplinary action. Now, what do juniors think of you? Because you can do nothing. You can't discipline, you can't hire, you can't fire. That is specifically said in the Constitution that a deputy governor cannot hire or fire. It's not. It didn't even say may or like the other part. No. It says you cannot hire or fire. So it really shows that you can't even execute your role, because it depends on not only the goodwill of the governor, but it also depends on the goodwill of your appointees, people who have been appointed by the governor to help you execute some of the things. So I think that's why we need to go back to interrogate Section 32 and Ayub. In that sense, what some of the recommendations are very easy. For example, we are not asking to hire or fire or discipline. We are only asking, can we even recommend a disciplinary matter? Can we recommend hiring? Can we recommend dismissal of certain individuals within the county? Given that, then it makes your work much, much easier. And it gives you that much confidence in order for you to push. If we are able to recommend to the Public Service Board and the governor the disciplinary of matters, and also during hiring of our staff, if you consult widely, if you, even in dismissal, you can talk and have that discussion, I think the relationship between the governors and deputy governors will go a very, very long way.
Francis, what does then a normal working day for deputy governors look like? Give us an example in your case, for example. Today is Tuesday. We'll be done with this show by 8. Machakos is just here. I assume you'll be there in minutes. So what do you handle when you get to office? Are there specific itemized issues or agendas that you handle, and you know that retiring to bed at night, you are going to be embarking on these specific items tomorrow?
First and foremost, I left office yesterday, almost 8:30, around there.
PM?
Yes, and we were working. From here, I have a number of scheduled meetings. My boss, the governor, is out of the country currently. And even before she left, there was a number of issues that were assigned to me. And I've not done even half of what was left behind for me to do. So from where I sit, I have a lot. Looking at, I have one advantage. as I said elsewhere, I have a boss who have previously been a member of parliament. Secondly, she has been an assistant minister, I think, to two different presidents. She understands leadership. So I think out of that, leave alone my personal relationship with her, there is an understanding from where she sits, and she really respects that office of the deputy governor. So in this case, I have a lot, Abdikandil, and I'm not saying so simply because I'm on national TV. No, that is a reality, and I'm sure our neighbor, Senator from Makueni, can confirm what I'm saying, because is more of Machakos than he is in Makueni, although he effectively represents Makueni. So in this, and two, we also belong to the same party. If there are issues, you will definitely know, even if there are gossips, you will have a way of knowing. So I can tell you,
privy to Machakos affairs.
Yes.
Through the
Machakos
party.
Yes. So in this case, I can tell you from where I sit. I'm telling you, I am speaking for deputy governors because I know what is happening elsewhere, and it is a threat to not only devolution, but I am among the people who associate themselves with the saying that counties should be our centers of transformation. And if that is the case, whenever there are conflicts at any particular county, it means any time wasted is a time wasted for more transformation, for more development for that particular part of the of this country. So we need harmony, and we need to move forward. And I think my boss understands that too well. That's why I can sit here and speak authoritatively about Machakos, because I know even if you place a call here to Governor Wavinya, wherever she is, she will tell you and she will confirm, like the office of the deputy governor Machakos has a budget, but that budget got finished almost 4 months ago. And since then, including the fuel I've used to come here, is from the office of the governor. How they get it is I don't know, but I've never gone to the office and I've told officers have told me this and this is lacking. Always it is done. That brings me to a point. Whenever you see anybody within any county disrespecting a deputy governor, it must have everything to do with the boss. Because if you did not hear boss comment anything negative about the deputy, then where will you get the authority to go out and disrespect a deputy governor who is elected and you are appointed? Some of these officers, and I want to go on record, we have a scholar in law. And by the way, during his tenure, during his days in high school, he was the topmost student from lower part of. That is how we came to know Manzo. He's very sharp in law. I can tell you, if you go to chapter 11 on devolution, you will only see 3 positions. The 3 positions are that of the county governor. The law also talks of the county deputy governor. And it also talks of county executive committee members. Some of these appointed members are nowhere in law. But you'll find once they are appointed, they exert themselves. They end up even behaving as though, in the absence of the governor, they are the governor. You know, and this has created a lot of problems because depending on how you came together, maybe the deputy governor is a political leader in his or her own way. And when you see this leader is being belittled, disrespected, mistreated, his or her people will start now fighting back. And that is how these conflicts come into be. Because somebody somewhere is trying to show, no, in the absence of the boss, I'm the boss. somebody else is trying to say, no, you can't disrespect my, and even the point I'm raising is what leads to even countries around the world to become fragile, to become failed states because of these conflicts if they are not well managed.
Okay, well,
yes.
Point taken. Professor Gillis, I'll come to you, Senator.
Let me give
These
the
are challenges.
other side here.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you have heard about or you appreciate because of the problems across the other counties, 21 so far, according to the report from the Senate Devolution Committee. How then going forward can this be resolved? Then what's your fate? What's the fate of your colleagues? Is the storm maybe come on your end, but on their part, it's creating a lot of disturbance in the context of governance?
Thank you, Ayub, for that. I think my brother from the Deputy Governor Machakos has given the good side of it, where governors are working very well with the deputy governors. And right now is the acting Governor Machakos, with the full knowledge of the governor. Some governors will be out of the country even for more than 7 days, and the deputy governor does not know. So we want to ask, some governors have given CM to act. They even give them a letter to act while they're out of the country. Some have even given the first lady or the first gentleman to receive visitors at the county governments. Some have even converted the county secretaries to become the deputy governors. Some chief of staff is the de facto deputy governor. So we want to say we want to protect the constitution, we want to protect devolution, and we want mainly to focus on service delivery to the community. Remember during campaign, we had one manifesto. There was no manifesto for governor and deputy governor. It was one manifesto for the governor. And we want those services to be given throughout the county. So we are saying we are fighting busybodies who want to disparage the office of the deputy governor. We are also calling upon those governors.
Yeah.
We are not cowards. We are calling upon those governors who are frustrating their deputies. And we are telling the electorates, watch them very closely. Watch them. Those are not leaders. Those are not leaders. Watch them closely. They should never be given the opportunity to lead again. If they could not keep a promise to one person, how would they keep the promise to the electorates, the thousands of people who voted for them? The other thing is, in terms of managing the budget and checking on the programs and projects being run at the county government, the deputy governor, since they had the manifesto of the governor, is the best person to head what is called service delivery unit, that now checks on the progress of projects, checks on how money is being spent, value for money, and such like things. I want to say that we are no longer going to cry, but we are saying a deputy governor is rightfully put in that office. He or she is a state officer. He or she is the second senior most person in that county.
Right.
And they have to be given the respect, the dignity they deserve. It is not about behaving like in a marriage whereby you have to become nice, smile, sit well, dress well. This is a constitutional office.
All right.
The deputy governor must be given the relevant budget to support him or her. Remember, we are still politicians, and we still want to go back to the communities.
Okay.
And every time you go there, these are politicians, and Senator Mansa knows, you must go with something small for the people. And the worst thing is that a deputy governor is disparaged because if you are not given a budget, you are only given fuel.
So
you are
the
given
budget
fuel.
to give the small said something that you should carry. Does this mean in the form of
No.
Let me
a governor has even a budget for donation.
Because it's an accountability question. The resources must be better managed. You're all leaders, so therefore you're subject to accountability.
I just want to explain a little bit so that they are not misunderstood.
What we had recently, because one of the core fundamental issues that the Gen Zs brought out was the core governance issues and how politicians, all of you here, and the others, normally dish out this money in public events And when accountability is called for, there is a tendency of politicians feeding from the same trough. And to which the president said that Harambes should be banned, and a proposal to that effect proposed through the Attorney General's Office of the State Law Office in Parliament to ban Harambes. What form does this take? I mean, from accountability perspective, Senator Manzo.
Abdi, that is a very bad example you are giving.
But let me explain. Let me explain.
The budget is talking about
then
should
you
be
get
accountable.
back.
Yeah. You will have the right to respond to that as well.
There's a lot of truth in
Let's
that,
hear from
but
the Senator.
But I want to say that, public resources must be used, and accounted for. What is happening currently, and it affects every politician, and there's an expectation, from the people. We have tried to manage it in Makueni since the days of Professor Kivutha Kibwana. But there is this culture of every time a leader is seen, he must give some money to some young people or some people. What we do in Makueni, like right now, there are a lot of universities, students stranded. So the moment you are in a village and there is a student who hasn't gone to university, you must go to your own pocket. Now, the problem with the counties, they have not received money for the last 3 months. The governors have to borrow banks to pay or stay without even their own salary. So what she says is, now in a situation like that, now it's even worse for a deputy governor. Your salary has not been paid. You have no resources at all. You are in a village. There's a student who needs fare to go to university, and you cannot even go to your own pocket and give that student fare or some deposit, some little money to go and pay in university. It becomes very difficult. And that's why we have said, this issue of reducing the money of the counties is even increasing this problem between governor and deputy. The county money should arrive in time, and the other week governors came to Parliament. They have to Senate. They really want these monies which the president proposed to be removed, to be reinstated, because then it means the governor and the deputy will sit there and they cannot do any development. I think it is very frustrating to become a governor and deputy without money to do the work of the people. Even before you account for it, you don't even have it.
But the point is wonderful. Just hang on, Dr. I'll give you the right to reply. Why I pointed out that is, first, in all logical sense, no one will walk around with his salary and to dish that out.
They do.
Unless philanthropy, of course, different people more generous than the others.
That's what deputy governors are doing.
Which in many aspects, the African culture is all about generosity. But I raised that issue because of an accountability aspect. And you said someone needs school fees, there are some hospital bills to be paid. But here's the thing, Senator Manzo, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me, is that the reason as to why these handouts are being asked for is because the leadership in this country since independence has failed the Kenyan people, pushing them on the cusp of poverty. It's because the education system is not working. It's because the healthcare system is not functional. It's because the infrastructure is wanting. And therefore, had there been employment opportunities, had the systems been working, all these problems shouldn't be there. There'll be no young people who will be expecting some handouts from you. Therefore, do you then agree with me that you leaders bear a degree of responsibility as to why we are in our current state, that we have unemployment, we have corruption, and we have our systems which are not working as required?
That one's very true.
You have taken a different dimension. We've gone to the dimension
I didn't finish the issue of budget.
I just want to support.
So that we clear that. What I meant.
Professor Chesrek was saying is that as a deputy governor, and I have said this is a big office in the eyes, you're basically the deputy president of your county. You go out to your village, you do not have the discretion. For example, people will say we have no water, the community, or there is something issue. You cannot make the decision to say, look, we will put a borehole in the next budget. Or you can say this pipe that is leaking will be fixed. This is what we're talking about, dishing. Okay, we're not talking necessarily about
money.
While I don't discredit what our brother, the senator, has said, but the reality is that when you visit your constituency and the villages, you, as a deputy governor, you do not have any authority or discretion to support a situation that's presented to you. And that's actually where we are talking about you are not able to, I think the word dish out is not really the right word, but at least to make a decision where you can be able to at least resolve that situation at that moment. Because certain things are planned for a long time. Certain things are emergency. And in emergency situations, you cannot make certain decisions until you are able to in concurrence with the governor. The other thing, Ayub, as I continue to support the point that the professor has said, is that really the elephant in the room is what we call resources. And they come in two forms. One is your staffing. You don't have staff. The other one is finance. If there is no resource to facilitate the work that you are supposed to be doing, then you will be able to do nothing. That's the bottom line. I think that's what the professor is saying.
Yes, Prof,
now let me finish. I wanted to say that just the way Lee has put it, as a deputy governor, you are the senior most at the county. Even sometimes MPs and even the senator say, we're deputy governor, you ni kidogo. You can finish with that. You go to your village where you've come from, or your community where you are brought now as a deputy governor representing them, and there is a pipe that has just cut, a leaking pipe. You are told, can you fix this one? As a deputy governor, you have to go back and call a CEC. Or worse, go back to the governor before that pipe is fixed. There is a mother who is supposed to deliver in our hospitals, and you are so much disparate to some extent that you cannot even make a decision to call the in charge of the hospital and say, can you assist this? For me, I still have I have that kind of power, because leadership is about power and influence. Now, the budgets, you have, number one, you have no clear roles. Number two, that does not give you staff. Number three, that does not give you a budget. So you are already cut into three sizes as a deputy governor. So what we are proposing in the amendments to the County Government Act is we want the deputy governor to chair the subcommittees of the cabinet. Remember, the governor chairs the cabinet, but in some cases, like in my case, my governor has allowed me to chair cabinet when he's not around, and the resolutions of that cabinet are just taken seriously. We want the deputy governors to chair the subcommittees. We want them to follow the resolutions of cabinet, what is decided, that actually the departments are doing it. There are activities or projects that are cross-cutting, like the FLOCA, which cuts across water, environment, and agriculture. So the deputy governor should be a super CEC to now supervise the other CECs. And not specifically, we are not also saying, we don't want to be a CEC, but in the event that there is no CEC, the governor can give you that responsibility to take care of it in the meantime as he's sorting for the CEC. Then we also want the deputy governor to be the liaison officer of the county. Because remember, like for Elgeyo Marakwet, our resources were the third least funded in terms of capitation. So we rely heavily on partnership to resource mobilize. So that is a job that a deputy governor can do. But even as you're being told, like now my governor said, add that. But there's no budget, So as you are going to a meeting, surely they will say, now you have called us to this meeting. Can you now sort out this budget of lunch and tea and something like that? So we are saying, we have come up with the roles which we have proposed. We have made our submission to the Senate, and we are really grateful to Senate for listening to us. And those will stipulate the roles of the deputy governor. We are not going to quarrel with the governors. The deputy will have specific roles, he will have specific human resource, and he will have a specific budget.
Thank you.
And that will make sure that services are delivered efficiently at the county government, and everybody is happy. About the issue of corruption, I will not
yes, please.
Run away from commenting on it. Who is corrupt?
Anyone who steals from the Kenyan people.
Sometimes you say the police are corrupt. Who is giving the police the money?
Entire societal problem.
All of us are corrupt. And we have to, I don't know, it is all of us. Sometimes we say government is corrupt or who, but who is government? Isn't it all of us? We cannot end corruption until we end it from a personal point. You say me, Prof, Ayub, I'm not going to be corrupt. And that policeman also says, I'm not going to be corrupt. That is how it will work. But as long as our community still celebrates somebody driving a big car,
culture.
And appreciating the one with the big car and not appreciating the one with a small car.
Yeah.
As long as we don't listen to scientists to guide us in our development. Like we have so many universities, but we never listen to them to guide in the development. So those are the issues that really we need to work on. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's now sample the feedback. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. Here's what we are saying on X, formerly Twitter. Engineer Lazaro says some position just burdening Kenyans for total nothing. If governors are able to run counties single-handedly without much efforts of their deputies, why can't we just get rid of such positions in order to save wage bills? Hemi Butia says it's very challenging for deputy governors. When one tries to be proactive, they are accused of trying to overshadow their bosses. When they sit back waiting for errands, they are accused of sabotage. This matter needs legislation. Frank Orinde says Masengeli's conviction for contempt of court renders him unfit to hold public office. If we are a serious nation in upholding the rule of law, Masengeli should be kicked out of office. Public servants should not operate with such impunity under our watch. Sam Masika says the more things change, the more they remain the same. If a senior police officer disobeys court orders, why should any Kenyan obey? Masengeli has set a bad example and he should be used as a lesson to those who might want to do the same. Okello Mwalimu says it's so unfortunate that the person responsible for enforcing law and order, albeit in an acting capacity, can be the face of anarchy. The acting police inspector general must know how to distinguish between court orders and orders from above. He must respect the rule of law. Edwin says a good discussion. Our governors are being sidelined. Deputy governors are being sidelined by governors because a deputy governor wants to know everything deeper. Peter Gesura says as much as governors are frustrating their deputies, the deputy governors ought not to outshine their bosses for better service delivery to citizens. Sawe says the deputy governors play a crucial role in enhancing the effectiveness of the devolved units. They provide continuity in leadership. Empowering them strengthens the foundation of devolution, enabling more responsive, accountable and inclusive service delivery at the county level.
That's true.
Edwin says many of the deputy governors are hidden because their governors have sideline jobs. That's what you're saying on X. So final remarks, starting with you, DG Mwangangi, briefly.
Thank you. First and foremost, allow me to send my condolences to the family, friends, and the people of Lamu following the demise of the Deputy Governor, Munywa. May God give them grace. Secondly, is we would wish to offer more effective and efficient services collectively as a county government, where the governor will play his or her role, and the deputy as well, and the county executive and the entire government, so that citizens can receive those services. Thirdly, we are told. It is Michael Porter who said, fish stings first from the head. Everything in this country, everything in our counties, in our sub-counties, I associate myself with the fact that much depends on the leadership. Can we improve it? Improving it is the way we are doing. And I pray that Senate will do justice to the cause that we are doing at the moment. And finally, devolution is the way to go. I've seen members of parliament are trying to increase CDF. Any monies that are going to the grassroots are monies that are strengthening devolution. That is the way to go.
Thank you.
Moving from the center to the people. And there is a problem here, Abdi, if you allow me, Abdi. You know, the national government never delays salaries for our employees. Yet some counties can stay up to 4 months without even paying for their employees. So this issue of devolution and financing, the country must rethink, the government must act towards solving that matter.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Senator.
A very brief one. On page 8 of the Nation, you see there are some people from the police quarters try to intimidate the judge in the Masengeli case, and I really want to say the protection of the judges is important. We are aware an IG, acting IG, is supposed to appear before court or supposed to be arrested. And at the same time, they are attempting to intimidate the judge. I think judges should be protected even when they are citing the police for contempt. Devolution is important. We'll do our level best as Senate to protect and to make sure there is good working relationship between governor and their deputies.
Thank you. Yes, Professor.
Thank you. One, I want to send my prayers to one of our schools that their dome got burned last night, Yemit Boys. I want to send our prayers. I also want to send the condolence to the people of Lamu who have lost their deputy governor. And finally, I want to say, Senate, we are looking upon you to either dignify the office of the deputy governor or remove it. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you, Ayub. Mine is also very quick in the sense that, first of all, I want to condole our colleague of Lamu and the people of Lamu for having lost their deputy governor. And the other bit is that in terms of our relationship with our governors, I think what needs to come out is the fact that the deputy governors are the governors of tomorrow. They are going to be our cabinet secretaries. They are going to be our leaders in this country no matter what. So I ask our colleagues, our governors, the excellencies, that they have to look at these things a bit more broadly than just narrowly at this little competition or fear that they may have of their deputy governors. Deputy governors are human beings.
Okay.
I think if they are given the necessary courage and support, they can certainly help the governor in delivering to the county government. And finally, I also want to urge the committee of Senator Abbas Mohammed, Devolution and Intergovernmental Relationships, to look at these amendments and really take them to conclusion. And finally, once all this is done, I believe that we will harness our relationships with the governor in order to enhance service delivery to our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Francis Mwangangi, the Deputy Governor, Machakos County. Good morning. Lovely having you here on the broadcast. Senator Dan Manzo, thank you for having made time for the broadcast. Much appreciated. Professor Grace Chesarek, Elgeyo Marakwet County Deputy Governor, and Dr. Ali Maalim Mohamud, the Deputy Governor, Mandera County. Much appreciated for your presence here, lady and gentlemen. Thanks to you too. Thanks to you too for working up with us here on the broadcast. The hashtag on X has been Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. You may not want to miss the segment coming up next, which is the social hour. Safina Chiengoma will be in the company of QT, CJ Atemo and Roberta. And we'll see you tomorrow morning here at the same time on the broadcast. Till then, good morning.
Thank you very much.